Awesome. Thanks, Rebecca. And thanks everyone for joining. So today, this is the webinar, Transforming Your Workflow, Time-Saving Solutions with Microsoft Power Platform. Just to briefly go through the agenda, just going to give you a quick overview of Coretelligent, and then we'll have VJ walk us through the Power Platform tools, Power Apps, Power Automate, Copilot, and Power BI. Ken's going to talk about different business use cases and some benefits of Power Platform, and then we'll wrap it up with some Q&A at the end. But just a quick overview of Coretelligent. We are a premier white glove provider of managed IT, cloud, cybersecurity compliance, and digital transformation services. The team speaking to you today is from our digital transformation team. So if you think about the full life cycle of IT that Coretelligent provides, we are this bubble right here, digital transformation. So what is digital transformation? We know ourselves as the core DTS team, Digital Transformation Services. We are the team that supports your apps and data. We specifically focus in 4 areas: application development, and this is really around building, deploying, and/or supporting your web and mobile applications. Data management, really focused around creating a strategy for consuming your data. This can involve cleaning and consolidating your data, building a data warehouse, or implementing some sort of analytics and visualizations tools on top of your data. Emerging technology is where we're helping organizations plan for and adopt emerging tech, such as AI, such as blockchain. And lastly, cloud services. This is really within the context of all the above. So making sure you have the infrastructure in place to handle your apps and data, or making sure you have a strategy for migrating your on-premise apps and data to the cloud. So representing the core DTS team today, we have a few of our team members. First, we have Ken Zimmerman, SVP of Digital Transformation Services. Ken brings along decades of experience as an enterprise architect. Next, we have Vijay Rathna. Vijay is our VP of Development Operations. He leads our development teams and our AI practice, and he's also a professor of AI at Columbia University and University of Texas, Austin. Lastly, we have myself, Tyler Bissett. I'm the Director of Pre-Sales for Core DTS, and I've worked closely with Ken and Vijay over the last 10 years as a solution architect. So I'm going to pass it over to Vijay, and he'll give an overview of Power Platform and the different applications.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Vijay here. So we are going to just go over the overview of what Power Platform is and some of the key tools within the Power Platform. And also, we are going to cover just a preview of how the end product from this platform is, or how to use this tool. Basically, Power Platform is a set of tools or applications provided by Microsoft, where it's a low-code platform. It means, or no-code platform means you will have to write less minimum or no code to develop business applications. And within the Power Platform, there are at least 4 major tools which will allow you to cater to a variety of business use cases. So the key thing with this tool is it enables organizations to build and deploy applications quickly, which involves workflow automation, deploying AI agents, and also doing simple tasks and data processing within the platform, and also visualization. So we primarily we are going to cover today Power Apps, Power BI, Power Automate, and what we are calling, what the Microsoft now calls as Copilot Studio. Okay. So to start with, one of the first tools is Power Apps. Power Apps is a low-code platform. So if you have to develop a web application or a mobile application in your organization, this is the tool you would use. And it offers a variety of templates and connectors to connect with your own data, and then also build the UI. So it is an auto-generated UI, and you can customize it the way you want after it is auto-generated with certain limitations, but it allows you to quickly create web applications, mobile applications, or utility-based applications and deploy in your organization based on data. It is a business user-friendly tool. Citizen developers or even business users can use this tool in various scenarios to build applications or modify applications or add data or some of the UI screens. So it does enable you to build applications without even the need of an IT team if required. It all depends on your use case, what your use case is, of course. The next tool we have is Power Automate. This is your pure workflow automation tool. It has been a really strong automation tool for many years. And since last, I would say 12 months with the AI capabilities within this tool, it has just blown up. So we are seeing adoption of Power Automate everywhere. All the way from simple tasks, automating simple tasks like getting data from one system, processing it and pushing it to another system, to complicated workflows using the AI models, including ChatGPT, to parse out data, to give you answers from the data, and deploying a predictive analytics type use cases in your organization. So there are a variety of versions of this tool. There's a desktop version of this tool to do simple tasks. There's a cloud version of this tool, and then there's also a business end-to-end business workflow process. So again, this can be used by both citizen developers, business users, even a simple end user to do simple tasks, to create simple tasks like if this, then that task, where you get an email, push the data to a file system, to complicated tasks like get data from 5 different systems, process it, and then give it to a visual dashboard, or even send an email or deploy or push it to a target you're looking for. So that's with Power Automate. So it's a workflow automation tool with AI enabled. Then the third tool, which is a little more sophisticated and it is becoming more and more prominent, is Copilot Studio. So Copilot Studio is basically a graphical user interface tool by Microsoft to create virtual agents or chatbots, AI chatbots or AI agents, which you can deploy in your organization and train based on your own data. So it's not just something which answers simple questions, but also it connects to your own data and then provides you the answers. And you can train, you can allow it, basically define your prompts within the model to allow it to seamlessly answer your questions. So it could be, you can deploy simple use cases like internally, this tool can be used to answer all the healthcare benefits within an organization, or allow the sales team to connect to some of the data and gets commonly used questions or frequently asked questions by the customers to external. You can also deploy some of these tools in an external way, like a customer service agent, which enables in an authenticated way to connect to your data and then gives answers to the customer without the need of an agent being on phone. So with Copilot Studio, you're basically creating AI agents which you can deploy both internally and externally using your organization, including sophisticated LLMs like ChatGPT. Okay, and the next and the final tool we are going to cover today is Power BI. Power BI is primarily a business analytics tool for visualization. You can create dashboards. You can create reports from this tool to be delivered in a variety of formats, web, PDF, PowerPoint, email. It can become also the key thing with this visualization tool. It is very highly interactive, and it has a variety of, I would say, within the tool, a variety of way of visualizing data, including charts, workflows, navigations, table-based and drill downs, which makes it on its own an app anyone can use, from executives to field managers and end users. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, VJ. And we're going to jump into a quick preview of the tools that we just talked about. A quick side note, if you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to drop those into chat, and we will cover those when we get to Q&A later. Go ahead, VJ.
Sure, thank you. All right. So I'm going to start off with the Power Apps initially. So what you see over here is basically just a landing page of a Power App. You can create, as I mentioned, it's a low-code, no-code tool. You can leverage AI to create your application, or if you know what your data is, if you know what type of templates you want to use, you can do that too. So before I talk about the AI, let me start off with some templates. So if you know you're going to connect to a particular source like your SharePoint, your Excel, or your own database like Microsoft SQL Server, you can get started there. So if you have this as your data source, you can basically point the Power App to that particular database, connect, and then ask the app to be created. So based on your defined model in your source system, the app will be created end to end. Also, if you don't have your own backend data system, then you can, Microsoft provides what we call as Dataverse. It is basically a business workflow-based database where it's not just the database, also you can create defined rules to take actions. Simple things like if a data is inserted to a particular table, send an email or run a business rule which processes the data and pushes it to another system. These type of workflows can be created as part of the database. So that is your primarily database, and you can, as I mentioned, you can build both mobile applications and web applications or tablet-based applications from this tool. Also, Microsoft does provide some of the templates you can leverage, simple templates on how you want your UI to be presented to get started quickly. And if you don't like it, that's fine. The AI will also create its own UI, which you can customize quickly using drag and drop. One of the key features which Microsoft has introduced and which I highly recommend to be used is the AI feature. So there is a Copilot in every one of these products, which allows you to use the AI to create your basically your application. So you can see simple using simple prompts. I want to build an application which possibly collects RSVPs. So, or if you have more defined prompts, you can define it, what type of application you want. And these are simple applications, but if you want more complex application connected to different data sources, you have to do a little more, you have to know how to create proper prompts and then data connectors. So here you can see all I asked is collect RSVPs. It created a simple table, and if you don't like any of these data fields, you can always interact with the Copilot and then add new fields, remove new fields, or create connections with other data. And once you use this Copilot AI, the AI will start doing its job. It will understand what data it has. So the same, as I said, you can point this to your SQL database and also create the application. You can see it takes few seconds, and if you have more table, yeah, of course, you have to spend some time asking the AI to create, or if you don't, you can also customize it completely however you want without the AI help also. It's now doing its job. It's what it is doing is it's creating the database, it's creating the UI, and if we have defined any workflows or connections, it is going to enable those. And now this is a UI where you can use drag and drop mechanisms to build. Microsoft creates a basic UI. So I mentioned you can use an existing template, or you can allow AI to create a basic UI, which you can modify using this graphical user interface. I'm going to just deploy the app or publish it quickly, preview to see how this works. So it has some basic screens where you can edit, update data. So this is a simple app to collect RSVPs. So you can see it created in 2 minutes. It has various views the web, the mobile and tablet view, which you can basically deploy across multiple devices. Okay. And one of the key things with Power Apps itself, even while creating this UI or while defining this UI, you still have your Copilot, your AI agent helping you like define the fields, define the UI. So every step of the way, the Copilot is supporting you to create the UI. Now, there are more complex apps. So this app, what you see, it's a sample app which was built based on a data set or data fields. And again, the processing engine understood what type of charts or UI or different sets you need to use. And in this case, it created a resource booking app for us. So I had this application pointed to a particular database. So based on that, it created this app, and then only probably this particular Gantt chart I had to add. So simple, when it created this resource booking app, you can see this is the basic UI which is created, and then you can customize it or color it or the way you want. It creates simple screens for adding data or editing data, and you can continue with it. And also it has, as I mentioned, charts and various, I would say, UI tools you can enable to view information. Now, some of the use cases we have built in here is for basically a healthcare company, or we have built an app which analyzes clinical trial data and allows users to basically review that data, and if they like it, they approve it for it to be enabled for further study. So a simple workflow approval process where we have thousands and thousands of files, and then there are these analysts who are reviewing the data, both the files and the information metadata, and then they will review or approve or reject this trial information for further study and analysis. So all the ways use cases like that too. We have also built a tool for one of the organization where this is used basically for onboarding an end user to the organization. So whenever a new user joins an organization, there's a checklist of things which needs to be occur, like all the way from creating a user in the IT system to creating a user in an HR system, and giving them a desk, a parking slot, and enabling them access to various other platforms. So that entire end-to-end onboarding system can be managed within this platform. It has a UI where we had created a simple UI where every step of the way, after every task has been completed, it goes to the next person to complete their task. And once everything is done, the onboarding is done. So you have seen organizations using some organizations use really good tools, but also some organizations keep track of all these things in an email or a Word document or checklist of things they need to do in an onboarding process or an offboarding process. The cool thing about a tool like Power App is it's not just you're building the app, you can also connect to these systems. So we can connect to an ADP system. We can connect to an ADP system to create probably a user in for payroll. We can connect to an HR system to ensure that, or extract information from the HR system to get all the basic information when they were interviewed. And you can connect to an Active Directory or an identity system to create an AD. So these kind of automation you can build within the Power App. So it's not just a simple UI and database, but also it can connect to your CRM system, your customer relationship management system, your external HR or ADP type systems, and both get information and also interact with it. So the cool thing, as I mentioned, is with quick drag and drop or using the AI, you can build the UI, and also you can modify some of the UI using those tools. So that's on the Power Apps. The next tool we are going to cover is Power Automate or Flow. As I mentioned, there are a variety of flows you can create. You can create simple tasks like you can see here, Microsoft provides a predefined templates on these workflow automation. So, for example, I get an email, and if I get an email, I need to do a follow-up or reminders, or if I get a file, I need to push that file into a particular place with adding metadata. So simple tasks like this, which is required on a day-to-day user, or extract information from Excel and parse it and save it in a database. So you can create these kind of automation tool. You don't need any developer for this. And this Power Automate or these flows are enabled by default if you have an Office subscription, a particular Office subscription, and end users can use today this without the need of anyone. Of course, they have to follow some of the basic best practices, but they can go ahead and connect and create this if this then that type of task, simple tasks on their own, which helps in their day-to-day activities, right? So and in one of the use cases where we built, we had like where we used to get information from email, a file, basically a Word file or an Excel file, and we had to extract that information and push it to a lab system. So we had built, the end user had built their own workflow there without the need of an IT to extract that information and push it to a destination. So that's the workflow automation tool. The cool thing about is it's not just these simple automation tasks you can do, but also there's a powerful uh, capability within this workflow automation, which is the AI. And there are custom models or predefined models you can use. And if you don't like any of these AI models, you can build your own models. So let me show you some use cases or some of the models which are available to you today. Okay, this guy here. Okay. Yeah. So, for example, right, so you want to do document processing, extract information, custom information from a templated document or handwritten document. Any of these things, the AI can extract information and you can send it to destination systems like Salesforce or a CRM system, marketing tool system, or even your own project management or task management system. So these are some of the predefined models you can use today, extracting information from documents, from invoices, or OCR type documents, from photos or PDFs, or even predictive analytics on the future outcome. Or you can also use ChatGPT to answer some of the basic questions here. Okay. And there are other models like along with predictive analytics, analyzing sentimental analysis of a service agent customers. So most often we see audio files or video or text AI summary what occurs in a survey in a call center, and we can use this tool or these models to understand what is this sentimental analysis, and then how we can improve our customer care center overall. So the AI can analyze all that information and then provide that feedback to decision makers. So that's with the AI model. So it's as I mentioned, you can do simple tasks or you can use sophisticated AI tools like this. Here also, as I mentioned, you can connect with variety of data sources, just like Power Apps. You can also use Power Automate to connect to variety of data sources to extract information, process information. For example, you can connect to a SQL database, you can connect to a Salesforce, you can connect to an HR system, get the data, process it within this engine, the Power Automate engine, or even it has math formulas where you can use math formulas to define, like maybe calculate some of the end results, and then provide you that curated data. So that's the tool. And as I mentioned, this is meant for totally end users to do their simple day-to-day tasks, to more sophisticated users where they need full end-to-end automation in their organization. So with a combination, you can always combine Power Apps with Power Automate, or you can use these tools individually to achieve your business use case. The third tool we are going to cover today is Copilot. This is your Copilot Studio. So this is just a graphic user interface where you can create your own Copilot. For example, you want to create your own Copilot. As I mentioned earlier, you can use AI to create AI, basically here. So you want to build your own Copilot. Either you can interact with your Copilot here on how you want to build, or you can just create your own models and connectors. So I have an existing Copilot agent here. I'm going to pick that out. So let me just cover that. So this is just a safe travels Copilot, which allows which the data source for now I have taken it as the US travel website. But if you have your own data source, it supports, as I mentioned, this is meant to be an agent which is trained and which works on your own data. So you can restrict it to like just connect to certain data sets. It could be data in your own data systems like a SQL Server, your file shares, or your file systems, right? So any of these, or even public websites, you can create basically an agent where deploy an agent within few minutes onto your website where users don't have to navigate and get answers. You can just provide your website as the source of this, and then deploy that agent on your web or mobile site, and then whoever is coming to that site, they're interacting with the agent, and then they're getting the answers they need instead of going through every link in your organization. So as I mentioned, this is the key feature of this Copilot Studio, to train on your own data, connecting to your own system you rely on, and extract information on that, right? So what you see here is, yes, that's the knowledge. And then we have the topics or prompts. Here you can see, you can define this, or if you want to skip it, you can always skip this. This allows you like how this bot needs to react, right? So it's like training the bot or this particular agent to get to an answer. So it could be when a customer is coming to the website and asking, give me what is my customer, what is my, basically simple things like, what is my water usage for last month? Do I have any outstanding payments? Then you can build authentication where with certain questions, it can authenticate to ensure that the customer is what they're saying, who they are saying, and then connect to different data sources. And then you can define what are the questions typically and a customer would ask, and have predefined templates for the answers, or it could be even free form. So any one of the way, but it's always good to create topics or giving a flow for the end user so that they can navigate, and then they have simple things like, okay, what can I ask this agent, right? So in this particular define, we have configured, okay, you can ask about passport. Since it's a travel website it is connecting to, you can ask about passport advisories or visa requirements. So similarly, these are the prompts which are possible, and whenever you create any one of these prompts, there's a particular workflow it goes through. And that is what these topics are for. You can define these predefined workflows, or if you don't want, you can always connect to your database and have it analyze and present data the way it wants. And also when you deploy, what you're seeing is the backbone of an agent. So end of the day, the customers or whoever your end users, all they are going to see is this chatbot. It's nothing more. But on the back end, I'm trying to show you the capability of what can be done. It's connecting to a variety of data sources. It's allowing the ChatGPT or AI agents to train on your data, to work on your data, and get answers for your data. And also, you can always trigger actions. So it's not just as I mentioned, conversational tool to get answers. It's also actions which allow you to do certain things, right? So it could be connecting to a database. It could be like sending an email when certain things happen. You can ask like this agent, okay, this is great. This is my outstanding invoice. Can you send me invoice to my email? And then that action can be triggered within this model. So what you're seeing is end users creating their own chatbot on their own data, or organizations, I would say, and then deploying it to both internal use cases and also external use cases. And it is a powerful tool. It is definitely a really powerful tool. It has been enabled with ChatGPT, and it's not just your simple chatbot. It is a complete, it uses the LLM to provide summary of information, to extract information, and in an intelligent way answer to your questions based connecting to your data. And there is a difference. We are going to cover that shortly. This tool is you can roll this out in a secured way within your organization, and you can it's both security wise. It's highly secure. It does not interact with anything other than what you are asked it to what you are asking it to do, and none of the things what you use here to be trained is exposed to anyone for like ChatGPT for usage. So that way it is your own environment to build an agent. And then the final one is the Power BI. So Power BI is basically a visualization tool, as I mentioned. Here you can do two things. One, connect to a variety of data sources and process data. Sometimes it's not just getting the data. You may have to clean or process this data. You can do that as part of the data flow engine, connecting to one or many sources, extract it, and maybe with some rules, clean up or process the information. And then finally presenting that information in a visualized format, what you're seeing, either dashboards, reports, or allowing it to be exported into PowerPoint, PDF, Excel, or even scheduling these reports to be sent on an appropriate date and time to both executive team and end users. So what I did not say is what you see in this report was completely generated by AI. So even here, right? So even with Power BI, there are AI capabilities. So what you can leverage is you can leverage the AI capability not just to create a report, but also get answers on that report. The Copilot is integrated even within your Power BI. So if you don't understand, okay, why my software sales is down in a particular month, you can ask simple questions like that, and then the AI here can interact with your own data, so it is connected to your data and get you the answers, right? And as I mentioned, you have drill downs, charts, tables. You can present this data on. This report, all I did was have the AI interact with a data model, and then the AI understood the type of data and created these reports. And of course, you can modify using drag and drop capabilities to your own needs and customize the entire report, what you're looking for based on your needs. All right, these are the 4 tools. Of course, there's a lot there in each of these individual tools. I just gave you a preview of it, and we can cover the other parts in the following webinars. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Vijay. And I'm going to pass it over to Ken to start talking through some of the benefits and use cases of Power Platform. And Ken, just unmute yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. That was great, VJ. And so what we saw was really a quick run through of the Power Platform, and in particular, for example, the low code, no code. Now, that doesn't mean you're always going to write no code, but it really does create an environment where you can have citizen developers who are just want to get going and want to create simple apps. And you can create very powerful apps even in that low code environment. Then we get to integration. As you saw, you can integrate, for example, in your own property, SharePoint, but also third-party apps, for example, like Salesforce and others, or almost any app that has an API, or where you have, let's say you want to integrate with FTP or any of these kinds of sources of data, and it's really powerful in doing that. In security and compliance, now that's part of the Microsoft infrastructure, and what that does is bring really a very robust security and compliance framework. So, for example, putting passwords into a vault where no one can see them except the one person who needs to change the password, but then everyone who is able to, can use the password without having to see it. And that is really important in highly secure environments, or masking the data. Sensitive information that can be masked, and we'll do that. Or ensuring that the data is encrypted at rest, in transit, and in all the facets of that platform. So what it does is really bring you into compliance with industry standards and regulations. Then you have the question of scalability. So you could be a 1 or 2 person shop and create something, but then as you move along, you can then scale as you grow. Or you could implement this in a several thousand person organization, and it is scalable right away. And you can, in terms of cost efficiency and scalability, you can optimize that. So you can be thinking about, well, do I want this to be mostly storage or mostly compute? And make sure that you are getting the best out of your platform, instead of having something that's sitting there using a cost and costing something when it's not being used. You can eliminate that and create an environment where you're only being charged for what you use. And then that gets to licensing. You may already have the licenses, that it comes with it. And if that is the case, you already have it and you can use it. And then you've seen the user-friendliness of it, enabling Copilot to help you along, and using all the facilities of it to make it really something that not only a beginner can use, but also an expert. And we're a testament to that as well in our own organization, where we use this to build things. So examples, I think VJ pointed out a few examples. I'll add a few here. One was for a client. In fact, this is a fairly endemic situation where clients have Excel spreadsheets. The Excel spreadsheets are sitting on desktops. They have VBA macros built into them. And now they become critical to the organization, and using the Power Platform suite of tools to take that Excel spreadsheet and macros, remove it completely, and make it an entirely cloud-based solution, all the way from capturing the data via Power Automate, let's say through emails, to storing them in SharePoint, to generating the output and then sending that back through email or into a repository. And that's something that we have done numerous times with the Power Platform solution set. In another case is where we have a client who has not very many people. They have a very big infrastructure. They have APIs from their systems of record, and using that to take that into the Dataverse, and then using that with Power BI to create really beautiful reports that are usable by not only the executives, but also the operational folks. So really what you're doing is you're taking systems, you're integrating them, which we've done, and making it something that the executives all the way down to the operation folks see things in real time, where they are and where they need to be. Finally, in another use case, which I think VJ may have touched on, in an electronics healthcare organization where they are taking billions of rows of data and using this in a framework in real time to determine where are the deficits, what are the issues, what are the problems that they have, and seeing where those problems are before they become catastrophic. And anyone who's worked in medical device knows that it has to work every time. And using Power Platform to do that, and in some cases integrating with other tools within the Azure suite to create a comprehensive solution. And Power Platform, in that case, is extremely expert, but starts with a non-expert who can really create something that can be then scaled up and used. And that was a great use case.
Awesome. Thank you, Ken and VJ. So at this point, we'd like to open it up to any questions that the audience may have. So if you have not dropped any questions in the chat, feel free to do that now. We do have a few we'll go over first and collect those after that. So question for Ken, what's the best way to get started with Power Platform, and how can you elaborate a little bit on the licensing?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a team whose job is to help organizations to do just that. You may be, as I mentioned, a two-person organization who doesn't know where to start, and we can help you do that. How to get onboarded, how to use what you have, how to determine what you have and what you need, and that is to create a roadmap. Or you may be an organization who's been using it, and developers like to develop, but then where we come in is to help you support it. So part of it is to get started with what you don't necessarily have, or how to get started with what you have and now you need to support it. So we have that experience and the team who can guide you through those initial steps to create that roadmap.
And one additional thing I'll add to that, and Ken touched upon briefly earlier, but it's very likely that the licensing that you have, particularly if you have an enterprise license like an E3 or an E5, those licenses do include some or all of the Power Platform suite. So if you're trying to figure out whether you have it or not, definitely reach out. We're happy to help you figure that out.
Sure.
Another question for VJ. Can you talk about the difference between Copilot for Microsoft 365 and Copilot Studio?
Okay. So Copilot for Microsoft 365 is basically the Microsoft version of the AI agent, which comes inbuilt with the Office suite, right? So it's your Word, like PowerPoint. So here you can do tasks like analyze the summary from a Word document and create a PPT. Or you can go to create PPT and then ask the PPT to create me a webinar on Power Platform. Okay, these are all the meeting notes for last 1 year. Based on this, do your own analysis and tell me what is the status of the project. So simple things like that can be created using Copilot 365. So it's a tool which comes inbuilt into your Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, Teams, and this Office suite. Now, what Copilot Studio is, it's a UI tool to build an agent and deploy that either within your organization or even externally on your public website. So Copilot Studio and the key thing with Copilot Studio is also it has necessary capability to connect and train on your own data. So you're also having that. So you're using this tool to create an agent connected to your data and to be deployed either internally or externally in your organization. So that's the clear difference. So in most cases, organizations might be looking to just test out how the Copilot is, right? So it is an equivalent to getting a ChatGPT subscription, but now totally integrated with your Microsoft tools. You don't need to get ChatGPT. And end of the day, behind the scenes, it's still using ChatGPT. You don't need to go externally because you can buy the Copilot license, enable it, and allow users to accelerate what they're doing, right? So creating presentations, analyzing data, or even allowing the financial analysts to ask questions and get answers in this complex Excel, right? So that is your Copilot for 365. Now with Copilot Studio, once you create an agent working with your own data, you are deploying it to certain teams or external or internal, as I mentioned, and you just enabled. You can basically create a customer service organization through Copilot Studio and deploy it as an agent. So that is the primary difference. Now, whenever you hear Copilot, it's basically an AI agent which is allowing you to do certain things. Now, with 365, Microsoft is allowing the end users to interact with the Office tools. With Copilot Studio, you can create your own Copilot, your own AI agents. And then finally, as you can see, Microsoft has provided with every step of the way in each of these tools a copilot to help you build the apps, right? So that is predefined copilots which will enable end users either to create a Power App or a Power BI dashboard or even automate workflows. So that's the primary difference. And once you know how to use the copilot, then comes the next one. And more organizations who want to connect to their own data, they need Copilot Studio, where we need to configure the data sources, make the prompts, allow it to be trained, and then deploy. That will unlock the full AI capabilities for your organization. And then the last and probably the next level is having your own instance of OpenAI, which you will train on your own data. That is one thing. So it's not just an agent, it's a full-fledged tool which trains on your data, and you can get control of that model, or you can customize that model to the maximum and then deploy in your organization. That is like an enterprise or OpenAI or even Azure OpenAI, which gives you the full AI capabilities on your organization. So if you ask me, the way you need to start is Copilot. If that serves your need, yeah, that's well and good. That's the simplest way you can get started using an AI tool in your organization. If not, then leverage the Copilot Studio to deploy your own custom AI agent. If not, then if that also doesn't serve, you want more sophisticated use cases, then you use Azure OpenAI.
Awesome. Thank you, Vijay. We have one more question. Can Coretelligent perform a Copilot assessment? And can it be set up where there are test use cases and we can gauge ROI before moving forward? So I can start with that, and Ken and Vijay can provide some context. So what we do for organizations is exactly that. We will run an assessment. This is to capture a few different things, but number one, make sure that your Microsoft 365 environment is ready to adopt Copilot. So that's really related to the security and governance challenges of opening up all the information in your Microsoft 365 environment to AI. The Copilot has the context of whatever the user has access to. So some of the concern is about making sure that Copilot doesn't surface something that the user shouldn't have access to begin with. So as part of that assessment, we audit a lot of the security and configuration policies and practices that are in place. But a second thing that is very important is also working with organizations via a workshop type process to identify different use cases for implementing AI. And that is a lot of education, but also formulating of how we can use AI with your specific business processes. And then when it comes to measuring and understanding the ROI, Copilot, we can actually build dashboards for measuring engagement with Copilot, measuring the time that it saves different users for specific automations. And so via essentially a Power BI dashboard, we're able to provide some key metrics that help you understand the adoption, the retention, the usage of Copilot, and whether or not that's being effective for your organization. Ken or Vijay, anything you want to add to that?
Well, I think this goes back to people and your data and your process. And so part of what we do, and really what we call a phase zero, is really understanding, who needs it, what do you have, that is where the data is that Tyler alluded to, and what are the processes that you are implementing, trying to automate, or gain insight into. And really that's the holistic and detailed understanding that we provide as part of that assessment.
Vijay, you're muted.
So one of the items is here is yes, it is a tool. It's a fairly new tool, and we need to enable the end users with best practices on how to use the tool. Like you can have a Copilot subscription and you don't know how to use it. You might not be using it effectively. So it's the way we train. You allow it to be trained, the best practices. These are very, very important. And then especially connect to the data. That is one thing which most organizations try to miss. They may have a Copilot license, but they don't know how to connect to data and deploy a custom agent which serves their needs. So they might be asking all the questions, but if it is not connecting your data and getting the answers, there's no point of using that. So these are some of the things which we analyze and provide feedback on and help organizations to adopt.
Awesome. Thank you, Ken and Vijay. And it looks like that is the rest of the questions. So just to wrap things. Yep.
I think so. You have a question here from Thomas. Yep.
Oh, we just answered that one. Yep.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so just to wrap things up, so if you're looking for help implementing, supporting, or procuring licenses for Power Platform, Coretelligent can help. As a reminder, we are Coretelligent, one of the most awarded IT service providers in the nation. If you have any questions or would like to chat regarding Power Platform or any other services that Coretelligent offers, please reach out to us. You can find our emails on the page here. Once again, thank you everyone for your time and have a great rest of your day.